Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. Sadhu sadhu. Good evening, fellow YouTubers. Welcome to Mindful Samadhi. So tonight I just want to touch on a topic. It's one of Buddha's amazing fundamental tools that he has an absolute massive array of. I'm just going to talk about one category of that, and it's references to our meditation and our practice. So this word in Pali is pronounced Cattāro Iddhipādā. Cattāro Iddhipādā. Okay, now to convert that into English, we could say the four bases of power, we could say the four bases of success, or we could also say the four roads to power, depending on how you want to look at it. Now, to break down the word idipada, we'd have to break down the word idi and then pada, okay? So the word idi basically means success or power, okay? And pada basically refers to the base, the foot, or the path, okay? So to put idipada together, you could say success on the path would probably be a good way to translate that to English. Now, in saying that, Pali is a very complex language in the sense where it's quite difficult at times to translate Pali to English. There's a scholar, a very academic, an American bhikkhu called Bhikkhu Bodhi. Now, he's got a very good I'd almost say a natural ability to translate Pali to English. And there's also been some other people as well that have done a pretty good job. Bhante Gunaratana, there's quite a few people out there that can do this. But whole in whole, it's actually quite difficult. So I myself, Iddhipada, I would say translate to success on the path, or success on the base or the foot of something. You could also say power as well. So that's what idipada means. Now, Cattāro Iddhipādā is like a four foundational, what it is, it's like four foundational mental qualities that allow a meditation practitioner to achieve extraordinary accomplishments in their practice. Now, these can be both mundane and they can both be supramundane. So, mundane examples of things that we can potentially achieve if we use these four factors correctly and to a very disciplined level, you can potentially achieve things like deep concentration, psychic powers, supernormal abilities, and in reference to the supramundane, you can start eradicating or destructing defilements that we have, and you can also start looking towards the attainment of levels like nibbana, arahantship, and various other lower stages. Not arahantship, that's quite high, but we can also attain things like sotapanna, stream entry, anagami, things like this. And we can do this by looking at these four factors the Buddha's laid out. Now, I'll give you the Pali translation first, I think, because we need to understand what the Buddha was saying in Pali, and then I can explain it the best I can in English, and then what I'll do is I'll try and give us a kind of like a life scenario of how we can utilize these four foundational tools, okay? So the first one, we could say Chanda Samadhi or Chanda Iddhipada. Now, What that refers to is a strong desire, will, or determination to achieve a goal. So this, we're specifically targeting our meditation practice, and the Buddha's laid this out for meditation practitioners. So when the Buddha says Chanda Samadhi or Chanda Iddhipādā, he's basically having like a very strong concentration, a very strong desire, a very strong will or determination to achieve our goal, whatever it is that we may have set out in our practice. So if we're doing samatha meditation, we're doing one-pointedness tranquility or passaddhi meditation, we're looking at an object of our practice, or we might be looking at a mental object like an image, a picture. It could be a kasina, for example. It could be an earth element. It could also be a colored element. Whatever it is, it could be an image of the Buddha himself. Whatever it is that we're focusing on, we need this extreme will and determination and this extra strong desire to keep our focus on this and do not lose our focus. I can't emphasize how much we need this discipline, you know. We need this willpower. We need this very, very strong determination to achieve our goal by just looking at this, okay? Now, the second one is, in order to have number one, we need virya. Now, virya translates, you can translate this quite well, actually, in English, to energy, okay? So virya is energy, or we can say motivation, but I think energy is quite a good word for this. Now, we need an unwavering perseverance when it comes to having this energy factor, or this perseverance. Like, we need to, we're going to have things arise in our practice, like hindrances, and we might have pain, we might have some thoughts, we might have all sorts of things arise, and we need to persevere through them. We need to look straight through them, and we need to look at, number one, what our desire is, what we're trying to achieve in this particular practice, whatever we sit down to do, and we need to have this energy. We need to have this unwavering energy and persevere through whatever may arise, whatever defilements, whatever negative or unwholesome thing that might arise. We need to disregard that completely and stay focused on our target, okay? So if that's one-pointedness, then so be it. If it's insight, vipassana, then so be it. We need this unwavering energy and desire, okay? Now, the third one refers to the mind. We call this chitta. Now, this is loosely termed because chitta, depending, what part of the world you're at, because some people refer to chitta as the heart, some people refer to chitta as the mind. It depends who you talk to, which scholar or academic you talk to. But the chitta, let's just refer to it as the heart and mind, okay? Heart/mind, okay? Now, with the chitta, we need to make sure that we have a consistent focus. So again, it's like number one and number two. We need the desire, we need this unwavering energy and perseverance, and then we need a consistent focus. So the focus is, we don't let it waver either side, and we're just focused, like dead on. It's almost like a good example is shooting a bow and arrow. Once that arrow lets go, once you let go of that arrow, that thing is going straight for its target, It's got a goal set out, and there's nobody stopping it halfway through going, hey, listen, let's just take a break for a minute. No, we're going straight for our target. That's what we mean by the chitta, which is the third one. So we need to have this focus with our mind and our heart that we're going to get this done. We're going to achieve this, okay? The fourth one is called vimamsa, okay? So vimamsa samadhi or vimamsa idipada, okay? It sounds like a confusing kind of word, but basically what this refers to is investigation, okay? So we need to investigate in our practice. So when things come up, when things arise to the surface, we need to be investigators, kind of like a detective. We need to look at things, observe our practice, ask questions, and look at things, when they arise to the surface, we need to question things, question everything, and just observe, okay? This is very, very important. Investigation, this brings rise to wisdom or panya, and wisdom, you could also use the word discrimination as well, but ideally, investigation and wisdom, I think, is the best way to explain this one. So, to put the 4 into context, what I'll do is I'll just break down the best English description I could say for the first, for these 4. So number 1 would be desire, a desire to do the meditation. Number 2 is energy to do the meditation. Number 3, we need to have our mind, or chitta, in the correct mindset, so to speak. And number 4, we need to be investigators. So we need wisdom. We need investigation to bring rise to wisdom. So we understand at a deep level about our meditation practice. Now, to break this down or to summarize this into a worldly situation, let's look at this. Okay, look at it like this. So basically, there's an example of the 4 is there's a farmer, okay, and this farmer, he wants to get a good harvest, okay? So he's got a crop going of, say, wheat or something, and he wants to gain a good harvest. What that farmer needs to do in order to get a good harvest is he needs a desire for the harvest. He needs some desire to do the harvest in the first place, okay? Secondly, he needs the energy to plow the harvest. If he doesn't have the energy to plow the harvest will just grow, wilt, and then die. Or it might get weathered, or animals or insects might get to it. So he needs the desire to plow his harvest once it's done. The number 3, he needs the mind. So he needs attention with his field. Okay, he needs to keep an eye on the field and make sure everything is running well. This is the chitta aspect. Not a great example, that one, but it's still part of it. And then number 4, he needs some wisdom, doesn't he? About knowledge and wisdom about the weather conditions, the seasons, how the seasons change. He needs wisdom and understanding on the seeds that he's using to sow, So this is a good, and also going back to that as well, like the wisdom, he needs to investigate things. He needs to have a look and see if the field that he's chosen is correct, the soil's good, the weather in that area is good, from wind and rain, and the season is the right season. So what he's doing is he's investigating, okay? And once he investigates, this brings rise to wisdom. And then once he does his crop, obviously he's going to get a beautiful crop, he's going to have lots of energy to sow the crop, he'll plow his field once it's done. So that's an example, but ideally the Buddha spoke about this in terms of meditation. So I was trying to give you an example of a worldly situation, how we could utilize these 4 things. But ideally, this is used in the sense for meditation practitioners, okay? So that's all I'm really going to talk on about this topic. I don't want to go into it in depth because this is just one part of a bigger process. So Cattāro Iddhipādā, it's called. And this is basically the 4 bases of power converted to English. So having these 4 things in our meditation practice as practitioners will get us through many obstacles. It sets us in line for a structure on how we need to be as meditation practitioners and how we can go forth in our practice ardently, strongly, with will, with determination, perseverance, and a mind and a heart set set out to do this, okay? Because it's very easy to not do meditation. It's very easy to give up on meditation. And it's also very easy not to even begin meditation. So what I'm telling you people is, this meditation, let's really put a good effort into this. We're born into a human form in this life, people listening, so let's really give it a good red hot go and try and attain some higher states in this body and this mind, rid ourselves of karma and defilements, and become strong practitioners, okay? So that is all for this evening. I really appreciate your time. This wasn't a long video, I just thought I'd do a short video. I've been quite busy this week. Also got a little bit of a flu happening as well, a bit of a nasal congestion thing happening. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw this video out, and tomorrow I will get another Q&A, question and answer session up, because I have more questions waiting. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely evening and rest of the week, and I'll see you later in the week on Mindful Samadhi. Te Rawan Sarnai. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.